I'm going to talk a little bit about security operations, SecOps, and more about the massive changes that have occurred, even in the last few weeks, of things around OpenAI and ChatGPT, and there's that buzzword, so we can all drink or have our coffee. It was going to come up today. I'm sure it's going to come up many, many times. But before that, I want to set the scene on decades of challenges and ambitions in security operations. Do we have any SOC analysts here today? SOC managers? CISOs? What do you guys do? What? Okay, so these challenges in security operations have not changed for the past decade. I've been in this industry about 18 years. I worked in the first security operations center in the Southern Hemisphere back in 2004. And we were fighting the same challenges we're fighting today. You know, we've got slow response times of dealing with incidents and alerts. We are very reactive in our world. We're not proactive where we don't have time to threat hunt. We don't have time to work on preventative controls to make sure incidents don't happen. So as humans, we're doing a lot of repetitive tasks over and over again and again and again. A lot of this can be automated, but we'll touch on that shortly. And this leads to a lot of inefficiency. There's inefficiency in getting stuff done. You know, we're putting a lot of investment into security tooling, into cybersecurity, into our people, but we're not getting there to prevent cyber incidents. We can, because we want to do things fast. We want to be proactive, and we want to be efficient. But is this really achievable? Possibly. But if you're a security analyst, you're sitting there and you're doing the same thing over and over again. You're investigating alerts, you're triaging the latest incident, you're looking up, I just realized I don't have my notes down there. I'll do this without notes. Fun. So you're monitoring these alerts. They're appearing in the queue. This is the day in the life of a security operations analyst. You're digging into it. You are doing some further research. You may be escalating this up the chain to deal with it from an incident response perspective, or escalating to your customers or your wider IT team. But there's a lot of questions that come from this process. And as I said, these things can be automated, and we can leverage bots and AI to do this for us. Because these alerts usually lead in practice to a lot more questions, a lot more scrambling to find information. And this information these days can be obtained in a much easier way. You know, even right now, we've got down the bottom of this screen transcription happening. This is information being generated in real time that could be reused by something like a large language model to actually capture this, automate, and then use that as context again for future knowledge sharing. So within your organization, we're capturing this knowledge in a lot of disparate ways. And if we can feed that into AI models and things like GPT-4, we can start leveraging this day-to-day very, very quickly. So I'm not going to get into the sales pitch, so I'm going to skip this slide. I should have changed these slides because there was a major announcement last week from Microsoft that came out about their Copilot capability. So being able to generate code very, very quickly, being able to generate and create bots very quickly. And this is where I was saying, if we're collecting this information, like me speaking today, we can feed that into these bots. We can feed that into these large language models to do things very, very quickly. So Microsoft have been ahead of the game here. They invested significant billions into OpenAI only a few years ago. And they've taken that quite far very, very quickly. And from a cybersecurity perspective and a security operations perspective, a lot of their tooling, like Sentinel and Defender for Endpoint and all this good stuff, is really starting to benefit from that day to day, especially when you embrace things like low-code platforms. Being able to build fast is absolutely important. So you want to be able to empower your people to create from an idea perspective. And these days, these tools and this technology is here, especially if you build out these teams leveraging automation and what I love, which is Power Platform. But we'll touch on that shortly. So one thing I want to do today is inspire you to look up what the art of the possible is with Power Platform and low-code solutions. Think about some ideas and things you can build and how you can quickly build a bot today to do a task that you do repetitively for you very, very quickly. So if you integrate these bots into your teams, you can do more with less, which is always fun. So I'm going to skip over this. Let's jump into the interesting stuff. So as I said, a lot has changed even just over the past few weeks in the world of AI and OpenAI. And I asked the question, are we heading towards utopia or Armageddon? Do we think AI is going to take over the world? Possibly. It's going to take over our developers, I think, but not replace them. It's going to enhance, augment, become that force multiplier. As I said, taking an idea to execution extremely quickly without having to Google for things, without having to read all these GitHub README pages. You can start with usable code very, very fast. But ultimately, is anyone here actually worried about AI replacing their job? We've got no SOC analysts, we've got no SOC managers here, so we're good with that. Sort of vote in the room. Do you think at some point in the future you might get replaced by AI in your job function? Anyone? Couple? Two? Wow, only 2 people are worried. That's great. I mean, that's a very positive thing. As I said, AI is your co-pilot, is your analyst force multiplier. It is your way of doing things faster. So I reckon if we embrace this, we can come a very, very long way. So normally I jump into a bit of a demo and show how we can build something very, very quickly. But I don't have my laptop here today, so we didn't actually prepare for this one. So instead of that, I'm just going to talk about how things have changed very quickly over the last few months, as I said. As I say, Microsoft invested in OpenAI. They released GPT-3 only 2 years ago. GPT-4 released last week from an API perspective, a new large language model that is significantly more powerful. They took the world by storm with ChatGPT only, 2 months ago now, when it was the fastest to reach X millions of users in a very short space of time. And Microsoft have been very smart here because they got ahead of it from an investment perspective and an integration perspective. And what this has done is really spooked Google. It's really spooked the other big tech companies into thinking, we're not ahead here. We're not keeping up. We're not adapting our products and our services to make the most of this. Google got so spooked that they had to bring Larry and Sergey back in to develop code again. They did their first pushes into their code repository in over a decade because they started to panic. Because Google have been leading the way in search and online for so long. And then where did Microsoft come from with all of this AI investment? But yeah, it's as I said in the description for this talk, we're entering an age of the tech giants, the battle for supremacy in this space. Who's going to win? It might not be the first to do it, so it might not be Microsoft. Someone's going to come along. But it is an interesting time. So has anyone here actually using ChatGPT or GPT-4 in their day-to-day life currently? Not have used it, but is anyone actually generating content with this? Cool. What type of content are you producing? What are you doing with it? Yep. So summarizing things down to a different level and reproducing it back again. That's really good. Yes? Yeah, so you're actually generating code. Does it work? Yeah. Amazing. Yes, absolutely. Not overly complex situations, but yeah, excellent. So the way I'm actually using this currently is leveraging it within a security operations center. So when an alert comes into the SOC queue, all of the entities, all of the details about that alert, all of the descriptions, we're getting it to write step-by-step instructions for the analysts to further investigate that alert. Now, we're leveraging Microsoft security tooling here. We're leveraging Microsoft Sentinel for this, which is pretty cool. And as I said, combining that with Power Platform, you can actually automate a significant amount of your Tier 1 analyst capability. So instead of them doing those repeatable tasks, we can get our models and AI and ChatGPT to actually investigate alerts for us, run queries, get results, and then feed that back into the alert. It's quite powerful stuff. And we deployed this within one customer environment and was able to save 2 days of effort per week to actually do more important things like threat hunting and proactive configurations to prevent incidents happening to begin with. So all I'm saying, and I'll summarize with, have a look what you can do with low-code tools, with Power Platform. I've probably said Microsoft too many times today, but there are other platforms out there to do this with. But embrace Power BI, Power Apps, low-code, automation. Get your sales team thinking about ideas and processes they can automate. Don't just apply this within security operations, but apply this across your entire business. Embrace AI to be your co-pilot, to be your force multiplier to get those ideas out there and do things faster. And ultimately, please be polite to ChatGPT. Say please, say thank you, because it's not going to, in the robot uprising, I sometimes say in 10 years' time, but maybe this is coming sooner than later. So do be polite to ChatGPT, be polite to AI, say your please and thank yous, respect it, and then in the future we will hopefully be saved. So, thank you very much. If you want to get started today, scan this code, read some documentation there. Thank you.